And I think I'm live. I think I'm live. Okay, cool. Just waiting. Bah! Just waiting for that to happen. Okay. Really professional situation here. So welcome. We have a few people in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. Today, I promised I would share anything that people sent in on my previous two videos. The previous two videos, I'm talking about those little thought experiments that I put out. The one about crepuscular rays and the one about where the sun goes during the night. And so I had asked people to send in their thoughts about those, and I said I would share it, and so I'm going to share it. Spoiler alert, I don't think anyone's going to be too surprised to hear this, but essentially 0 flat earthers have participated in any constructive way. So that's really going to be the thesis, I think, that I'm going with today is why don't they? Why won't they? And what does that mean, really? Okay, cool. And Rachel's here, which I'm really excited about. I do want to pull you in a little bit. I'm happy to have you come on live if you're willing, but I would like to hear your perspective because I think your insight on this is unique. But let's get right to it. The first one was crepuscular rays, and so I got the crepuscular rays back here. If you didn't watch the video before and you want to know what I'm talking about, there's a photo. This is what it looks like. We know the sun behind the clouds, the rays diverge as they're coming at us. And we hear from time to time that means the sun must be local. If the sun were very, very far away and all the light from the sun was parallel, it couldn't create this divergent thing. Okay, and so I asked people to just draw for me what would a distant sun with parallel rays look like in this situation. And then I drew an example, and in my example, it looks exactly like that. So my thinking is that it's so simple and so not controversial to just draw a diagram like that people might be willing to do it. And when they do it, they would see that argument has some kind of flaw. Maybe we wouldn't know what the flaw is. We wouldn't understand why, but we should understand that this is if there's a sun somewhere here, doesn't matter how far away from us it is, the sun shines on the entire surface here. So there's a beam of light hitting over here. There's a beam of light hitting over here. And both of those beams must be coming from the same sun. And so we draw straight lines, and there you go. And so there is an explanation for why that works. And we'll see that really quickly here. But you don't need to have the explanation in order to understand that that's what it's got to look like. So that's what I was looking for. And yeah, so far nobody has contributed. Let me share. I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, let's do this. Let's just do that. What could possibly go wrong? Am I right? And I'll move myself out. Okay, here I am. I want to highlight Stephanie's comment. Stephanie is a flat earther and a nice person who contributes to the channel from time to time. And here is her perspective on this, which is that, I'll just read it. I, at one time, thought crepuscular sun rays were a proof of a local sun. However, with recognizing how our eyes see things, perspective, I now realize any parallel lines, such as bridge rails, long haul walls, or railroad tracks, eventually converge at a vanishing point to the human eye. So Stephanie has already learned this, and I applaud that. That's fantastic. And that proves my main point here, or one of my main points, which is you don't have to reject the reality in front of your eyes in order to continue to believe whatever you want to believe. These, oh, you guys can't see me. Let's put me back to me. These converging sun rays, they don't prove a local sun. They don't prove a distant sun. They're fine, right? That's what I want you to come away. It's just fine. It's fine. You can believe what you want to believe. And when someone comes to you with a little more information, you can be open to it, like Stephanie was open to it and realizing, oh, yeah, you know what? That doesn't mean the sun is local, and that's okay, right? And Rachie, if you're here and you're willing to give us a thought, I remember seeing a video from you saying something along the lines of that these divergent rays indicated to you a local sun. And then I think that some people posted for you follow-up videos showing that that wasn't true. And now you know exactly where it comes from. Am I summarizing that well? So there's a delay. So I'll wait for her to answer, and I will queue up some of the other contributions that were sent in. Okay. While we're waiting for that, let me screen share. Add to stage. Okay. Yeah, correct. I didn't understand perspective, unfortunately. And a follow-up question to that is your video still on your channel? Your original video where you presented this, how did you react when you learned the alternate way? Did you accept it immediately? Did it take you a while? Did you leave the video up? Did you annotate the video? Those are all really interesting questions. Okay, so this is a video that was sent in by somebody, and it's really short, so we can just play it. This is the divergent rays in a simulation, obviously. This is not reality, it's a cartoon. But if we just pan out and look at them from the side, we see that those are actually parallel rays. A set of parallel rays, if you look straight down them, just like the railroad tracks, you understand that that's not, go away. That's not an indicator of a local sun at all. Okay, you got to turn off autoplay for these things. So, hey, Askin is here. So yeah, Rachie says she did not understand. Okay, so let's see what she says here. Still up, I stopped claiming it and accepted it once enough evidence to show I was wrong. So that's great. Huge applause to that approach, the approach of intellectual integrity, just like, oh, I made a mistake. I see the evidence now, and I changed my beliefs. So that's what I would like to imagine we all would do, is we believe something, and that's cool. And then somebody shows us evidence that leads us to update our beliefs. It's like, oh, wow, look at that. I did not know that. That's totally cool. The video is still up. Did you annotate it at all or mark it? I'm curious, because if that video is still up and somebody comes across that video today, will they hear you telling them something that you now know is not true? And how do you feel about that? So that'd be really interesting to hear about. The next video that I will show is another one along the same lines. Another one that was shared with me. Okay, here it is. And it's similar to the one we just saw. Again, not from some kind of science contrarian. This is corpuscular rays in a simulation. And there we go. Let's fast forward to the money shot here. This is divergent rays in a simulation. And then we're going to move the camera around and get a better perspective of exactly what's causing this effect. And yeah, the effect is absolutely perspective. It is perspective that makes things do that. Okay. And this is from Joss Lees. Let me throw links to these in the chat for y'all. Because I do want to promote anybody who has shared these things with us. So let's get it. Let's grab a link. I'm gonna throw this one. Didn't change it. I'll put that up. So there's a link for that one, and the one that we watched a minute ago. I'm gonna have to get that one now. Yeah. It's this one. Sharing copy in the chat. There you go. This is the one we watched before. So Rachie says, didn't change it. No, I think there are comments admitting I was wrong. Could probably do with adding a description. Now you mention it. Yeah, I think that's I would. Maybe, even, you can add, one of the problems with YouTube is you can't edit. Can't really edit. You can't even add annotations anymore like you used to be able to. But what you can still do is you can go back and add up in the corner, you could put a video link to another video. And so you could just toss in there a follow-up video link would be cool. You could do like a follow-up on it or something. I ask about that because, yeah, I wonder how people feel. Like this whole thing is driven largely by a lot of people who are seeking the truth. It's about the truth and who has lied and NASA is lying and that sort of thing. And if it's lies and truth is what really matters to us, then, and it wasn't a lie, we made the video, you believed that the video was correct. But now that you've updated your beliefs, your video is still there. And so what does that mean? Now, right? An old statement, it wasn't a lie at the time, but if you made it again, it would be, and it still exists. So yeah, that's an interesting question. And that's a debate I had with another flat earther about like his Impossible Moon video. He has video up, multiple videos up describing how the moon is impossible with the heliocentric model. And then I met with him and showed him that it's not impossible, that it actually worked. And he agreed. Like you have said, and Stephanie has said, when you get new evidence, you can update your beliefs. But he did not change the videos. And he felt that the video is there. It's part of history. It is truth, because historically that was accurate at the time. But I feel like leaving the video up is continuing to share something that you know is not true, and that's akin to lying. So everybody, if you have opinions about that, feel free to chime in and give me your thoughts about it. Okay. I did have a flat earther send in a video. So let's share it. here we go. This is, and let me get the link going here. Let's grab the link. Let's throw that link in there. Okay, Mandela Effect Jonathan wants to share with us that, and I'm not entirely sure that this is a flat earther. This is certainly some kind of science contrarian, somebody who has a different idea about science than the mainstream. And he is showing the diverging rays at 3 different locations. I'll turn off the audio. And imagining a person, for example, like going from one place to another, and how that person would still see the sun at the same angle as they walked. But from our perspective back here, we can see that the angle has changed, right? The angle has clearly changed, and there's some text explaining that. Let's skip ahead on the text. We don't need the text. There you go. Here's a great example. As the person walks from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, they always see the sun at the same angle because they're not walking far enough for the angle of the sun to change. But I mean, it would. It's a thought experiment. But from our perspective, way back here, we see that the sun's angle is very different from those locations. And this is a paradox. This is the puzzle that that we're getting to. And so I thank this person for this contribution. Is that an example of not understanding frame of reference? Well, a little bit. What it's an example of is not understanding perspective. This is the effect of perspective. Once again, these rays of light are effectively parallel. And this is true regardless of whether the sun is 3,000 miles away or 93 million miles away, right? Even at 3,000 miles away, what's the distance between those two posts? Those two posts are, I don't know, like, let's say they're a mile apart, right? If you walk a mile compared to 3,000 miles away, you could call those rays the same angle. That's too small a distance to make a difference, even if the sun is at 3,000 miles away. So it doesn't matter, flat Earth, round Earth, whatever your belief system is, we just understand that this does happen. Now, this video suggests that this is proof that we live in a simulation. And I would not personally go that far. I would just say it's proof of perspective. That's how perspective works. If you stand in a different place, things look different to you, right? Depending on where you are standing, things look different from your perspective. We call that perspective. Okay. And I think that was all of those, but there were some images that were sent in. Okay, let's do some images. Okay, let's put that up on there. So here's some pretty cool images that various people have sent in. I believe all of these are not flat earthers, not from science skeptics. So here's one. This is pretty cool. The inside of looks like a church or a mosque, and the divergent rays coming from the different windows. And of course, the snarky comment is, "Oh, the sun is right outside this temple, whatever it is." We all know that it isn't. And yeah, this is one of the ones I had in the video. Oh, here's somebody sent me one from under the water. This looks like a simulation, though. I would say this is not a photograph, but still, the point is the point is still made. The divergence does not come from the fact that the sun is close. It comes from the fact that we are looking like down the railroad tracks. Maybe the light is from the angels. That's what that means, yes. Okay, here is anti-crepuscular rays. So these are, when you see some rays, and I think this person even showed this shot, which is I think, if I understand what I'm looking at here correctly, this is crepuscular rays and anti-crepuscular rays, although they both look like antis to me, but I could be wrong. Like maybe there's the sunset over here, and we see the crepuscular rays coming up, passing over your head, and then if you turn around, you see the anti-crepuscular rays going behind you and converging again in the distance. What else we got? How about this one? And here's a shot from, from space or whatever, showing the rays and how they're parallel. Okay, so those are all the contributions. Those are all the contributions I've gotten on the crepuscular ray story. The next one that I asked for people to do was, where does the sun go at night? And I should stress, the reason I'm asking for these things is not because I'm trying to prove something, right? I'm not proving that the Earth is a globe. I'm not trying to prove that the Earth is a globe. I am trying to get all of us to take a moment, hit the brakes, and think. Ask yourself, what do I think? What do I think is happening? And because I think a great deal, one of my theories of why we get the science skepticism, the contrarianism, is very much a lack of thinking. It is not thinking. We like to say critical thinking. Let's do some critical thinking. Critical thinking involves thinking. It's right there in the name. So you may feel that someone is lying to you, right? But that doesn't count as thinking. That just counts as feeling. You may feel that the Earth is flat, but that doesn't count as thinking. Let's do some thinking. And so that's what I'm asking you to do with these little things, is let's think about it. For example, in this next one, let's think about the Earth rising in the east, the sun rising in the east, going up to noon, and then coming down in the west. We all know that it does this. Nobody argues that. We know it. It goes like that. And so here's the thought experiment. We know it ends the day over there. We know it begins the day over there. How does it get back? Like, we're going to start over here, we're going to go over there, and then in the morning, it's going to be back over there again. How does it get over there? And if that's what I do, I say, okay, the sun goes up and down, and then it goes around. Obviously, and it's just going to go like this. That's what it's doing. Done. What do you think it does? And I'm asking you to just do the same thing that I just did, because if you believe that the Earth is flat and that the sun circles around the North Pole, then how's this motion work in your mind? And if you could show me that. Pac-Man, says Arwen. Yeah. The ancient people who believed that the Earth was flat, and many ancient cultures, all the ancient cultures, believed the Earth was flat up until at least the Greeks in the Bronze Age. What did they think? They knew that the sun rose in the east and set in the west and continued underneath the Earth. They knew that it went under the Earth. That was part of every one of their belief systems. It is only the modern flat earthers who believe that it circles over our heads, and that doesn't work with what we see, right? With what we understand that it actually does. Okay. All right. And so here is one video that was shared with me. This is not a flat earther. I would love if the flat earthers would contribute, but they have not. Let's see here. I don't think I'm sharing the audio. There you go. And so he's indicating sun rising, sun setting now. Doing the sunrise, sunset again. I was distracted by the comments. Did he do the under? I think he did the whole loop around already. Yeah, he's explaining now how this works on a rotating globe. So yeah, I think he must have done it. And so this is a contribution. So thank you very much, this gentleman. Don't know if he wants his name shared. Doing it, right? This is not a controversial, not a difficult thing that I'm asking for. So I don't know why people don't want to do that and contribute. But I can't force them if they don't want to. Okay, we have, I'll put it up. Yeah, it's not true. Flat earthers didn't exist before 500 AD. But okay, that's not what anthropology teaches. The study of ancient people says that most ancient cultures, at least until the early Greeks, seemed to think that the earth was flat. And I agree, if I didn't know any better, it would be a reasonable assumption based on what we see. But hey, you know, okay, maybe flat earthers were invented in 500 AD. Okay. The modern flat earth movement is remarkably modern. It comes with Robotham, really, is the father of the modern flat earth movement. And yeah, and that brings me to what I really want to talk about. We'll spend a few minutes left. It's been 30 minutes, and that's really all the feedback that we've gotten. I did want to talk about why don't flat earthers want to do these diagrams? Why don't they want to do the simple arm gesture and just show me what they think the sun is doing? Yeah. Okay. And so why is that? And in order to highlight that, was late. How many contributions did you get? I got a handful of videos and photos from non-flat earthers on crepuscular rays. I got exactly one non-flat earther doing the arm gestures for sunset, sunrise. I got one flat earther sent me a video that, well, you know what? I don't know if he's a flat earther. He believes the Earth is a simulation because of the crepuscular ray scenario. And that's all I got. I wanted to spend the rest of this time now highlighting one of the conversations that I did get. Yeah, let's find it here. Sort by newest first. Okay, let me dig into this conversation. I wish I could get just the comments without the other videos. Maybe there's a way to do that. I have to dig a bit. I'm digging. Stand by. I had this all set up and then I clicked away like an idiot. I've lost it now. I have screenshots. You know what? Let me just go to the screenshots. We'll do that. Okay. And then I can zoom in better. Okay. let's share. Here I go. Okay, these are comments that I wanted to highlight because this is from a flat earther who commented on the corpuscular ray video. He was unwilling to draw the diagram that I asked for. There you go. Can you guys read that okay? Hopefully you can read it. If not, give me a shout and I'll zoom it up. He just started with abandon common sense, ye who enter here. And yeah, before I go any further, you'll see it coming. I invited him to be in this video and he has declined. So if you're out there watching, please jump in the comments. The invite still stands. I would very much like to hear your perspective on this. I'm going to summarize my takeaways, and we'll hear from the chat what everybody else thinks. Okay, so I just repeated. I ask you to please make the drawing as I asked. The idea is to explore what you describe as common sense. Use your common sense to make the diagram and share with us what you drew. Again, I don't think that's rude. I think it was very pleasant, very nice. I was trying to be nice. He says, how can I do that when YouTube doesn't allow links to images? You haven't really thought this through, have you? And maybe you should adopt a less condescending approach. We're adults, not a class of third graders. Okay, I mean, fair. You can't really include links in these comments, but as I clearly stated in the video, you can email the drawing to me. I even gave my email in the video, but you know, maybe you didn't remember that or didn't catch it or didn't even watch the whole video, who knows? I can share it for you. It's only condescending if you take it that way. Maybe you would prefer we shout and call each other names. Again, I get that from time to time. I'm condescending, and maybe I am. I apologize if I come across condescending. I am a teacher, and I go into teacher mode sometimes. That's the tone that I use in the classroom with, you know, college students. And they don't usually complain about it. So I'm not really sure why Andy is upset with it, although I have my theories. Okay, a middle ground would be nice. Your demeanor is overly children's school teacher. Well, again, if my demeanor is bad, I'm sorry. I just want you to do the thought experiment. And that's, you know, and I'll admit, when I ask my college students to do things like draw me a diagram or point or count on your fingers, they're reluctant. They don't want to do it either. That's very much a thing that we pick up. And then I always tell them, I say this in class, remember back in kindergarten when Mrs. Jones taught you to stop counting on your fingers because that was for babies and you should be able to count in your head. Mrs. Jones was wrong, right? Count on your fingers. That's what they're for. That's why we have a base 10 system, and so you can count on your fingers. So yeah, let's count on our fingers. Let's write things down. Let's draw diagrams. Hand gestures are great. Yeah, and I have to break my college students of their reluctance to do that. So understood. Okay, but I did say, is my demeanor preventing you from making the diagram? A diagram is not necessary. Corpuscular rays wouldn't occur with the sun at its claimed distance. Instead of pretty pictures in word salad, why not give us a scaled down demonstration in lab conditions? But that would mean doing some real science in place of just talking. Okay, and so that's Andy Smith's thoughts. Let's go on to the next part. It continues. Okay, yeah, diagram not necessary. Okay, my response. Is it so hard? Could you please draw me a diagram of what you think the rays from a distant sun would look like? Clearly, I'm having trouble understanding your point. Maybe the diagram would get your point across. Or, indulge me for a moment, maybe you know the diagram will look just like mine. Maybe you can't bring yourself to agree with me. No? It's trivial to prove me wrong. Just email me the diagram. And this is the crux of what I think is going on. I think this is what is going on. I think everybody knows there's only one way to draw this diagram. They will all look like this. And I think that the people that we're talking about who resist doing it are resisting because they know it will look exactly like my diagram. And they don't want that. Now, why don't they want that? That becomes the question. The question isn't whether they know or don't know. I think it's obvious. Everyone knows the diagram will look like this. The question is, why is that a problem? Why can't they just say, here's my diagram? Okay, moving on. Crepuscular rays would only manifest with a local light source. What? Why is that? Pictures don't prove anything. I'm asking for a practical demonstration, which people like you run for the hills at the merest suggestion of. Interesting. Very interesting take on this. People like you run for the hills. Now, I have asked for something. I have asked for something very simple. I've asked for the diagram. Andy refuses to make the diagram. And he turns it to say that I am running for the hills, that I am refusing to give him something when I was the one who asked for something in the first place. Isn't that ironic? Okay, so here you can see my response. I'll make you a deal. Draw your diagram as I described in the video and email it to me. If you do that, I'll try to make a practical demonstration as you have asked. What do you say? And Andy says, I say forget drawing pretty pictures and start doing actual science. And here's where I introduce, I think this thread is a good subject for a video. Would you like to be on camera to discuss it with me live? Can we open the next? There we go. And you guys are seeing this? Yes, you are. Okay. All right. And that's where I invited him to join us. That's really what I want to talk about is why does someone like Andy, and I think Andy is not alone, why does someone of a similar mindset refuse to draw the diagram that I've asked for and then turn it on to me to say that I'm not doing science and that I need to do this demonstration that he's asked for and that I'm running from him? How is that turn and why is that happening? That's the interesting thing for me in all of this. Okay, and then he says, I did that once with another anti-flat earth channel who used me as a subject of intense ridicule. I can imagine that happens. Eventually, I managed to get the video taken down by complaining to YouTube under the heading of harassment and bullying. I'm never going through that again. What I've learned about the science side of this subject is that you people are very nasty. That's a telling line. That says something right there. And you guys know how I feel about this. I think this line really sums up exactly what the flat earth movement is all about right there. This is the flat earth movement as far as I understand it. Let me read it again. What I've learned about the science side of this subject is that you people are very nasty. Exactly. Professor Parks, yes, you people. It is you people. And who are you people? You people are the science people. And what is wrong with you people? We're nasty. That's what this is. We're very nasty. It is a division, a very clear, very explicit division between you and me, us and them. This is us versus them, and it's a false dichotomy, us versus them, but it's a very strong dichotomy. And in this dichotomy, the science people are nasty. Judy is a people. Judy, are you a people? Are you a science people, or are you a people? Are you a nasty science people, or are you just a people? Okay. So here, on to my response. You're kind of making my point for me here. My point is that you see me as, quote, you people. You have an antagonistic view of me, and as a result, you refuse to even make a simple diagram that would illustrate your own mistake. I hope to find some time. I guess I cut this off. I hope to find some time soon to do a live video. Hey, I'm here, where I run through this comment thread and make exactly that point. If you'd like to be involved in that discussion, I invite you. I also would invite you to skim over some of the other conversations I've had on this channel to see what I'm all about. Okay, thanks, Professor Parks. See you later. Have a good day with the summer kids. Okay, and then you're seriously suggesting that people on your side of the debate don't use labels and aren't antagonistic towards people like me. Seriously? And you're making my point. All I'm interested in is practical demonstration, which I ask you to provide in the context of the subject matter. Okay. So my response, I think you're new to my channel. Welcome. Look around. You'll find that name calling is not allowed here. I've created the channel to explore the idea of having rational, civil discussions about such unconventional ideas as flat Earth. I will absolutely not tell you the anti-FE crowd is above antagonism. They are absolutely not. But if you want to rise above it, I'm ready to talk. And then edit, your request for a practical demo is reasonable, but my request for a diagram was first. Do the drawing, and then I'll do your demo. Okay, and then, the ultimate defense here, you've reverted back to primary school teacher mode, asking the children to draw pictures. And if you've changed your mind, we'll be on live here. Was there a follow-up? There's one more screenshot, but I think it's the same thing. Yeah, so it's the same one. Okay, so that's it. Cool. So, all right. Some people are nasty to flat earthers, but some are nice, and that goes both ways. I think it does. And Blue Marble Science, I'm a nasty people. Yeah, maybe you're part of the nasty people. Judy is a people. I'll go along with that. And some of you are, giving me a little kudos for being nice and patient, and I try to be. Yes, I absolutely do try. But that, there's no assumption that they know me or anything about me. Maybe their experiences are only with, FTFE or someone like that, where antagonism is the business. There's plenty of antagonism all around. We see it all over the place. Definitely not one-sided either way, right? There are absolutely lots and lots of FE people whose entire meaning in life is to be antagonistic towards science. Ultimately, that is my thesis. My thesis here is that what's going on with this flat Earth thing? What is going on? And I think it's actually pretty simple, and it's summed up in that comment that we just had, which is you people are the science people. And if you see yourself as an enemy of you people, then the lines are drawn, and that's how we make our decisions. It's not about what's true or what's false or what's demonstrable or science and what's not science. None of that is important. The only thing that's important is us versus them. And that's how we're built as humans. That's how we're built as humans. We're social animals. We're tribal, always have been, and that's what's going on here. So, if anybody has anything to jump in on that, I would love to hear your thoughts. Particularly Rachie, you have the widest view of anybody, having been on both sides. At some point, maybe you have some theories about your journey that can inform this better. Personally, I started my flat Earth journey from the perspective that flat earthers just didn't know, right? They just didn't know that this was from perspective, and that they would appreciate me coming and saying, hey, look at it this other way. Let's learn about it. And that would be cool. And I was, boy, was I naive. I was very wrong. And I learned that quickly, that no, that isn't a conversation that we typically can have. Once in a while, we can have that conversation. And that's been really cool. It's been really cool when we've had that conversation and it's worked, but usually it's not. Usually it's more like the Andy that I just shared, where it's very clear that they don't want to have any, they don't have any openness. They're not open-minded. Most of the science people are not open-minded. Most of the people are not open-minded. They have sides that they've chosen, and that's what it's about. It's about my side versus your side. And so the next thing I tried to do with my journey was ask myself, how could we improve as people? How could we be better people? And I went through this whole phase of, well, let's try to be rational. Let's look at demonstrable evidence and go with that and be true to that. But I found that most people won't. Most people, most people, they just can't do it. So I thought about, okay, well, is there a way we could still come together? And that's where I'm at now. Where I'm at now is asking, why is there this us versus them, this dichotomy of you science people? Why are you people nasty people? Why aren't we all part of this same crowd of people? How is it that someone like Andy has found himself cut off from you people? And that's where I'm at now, is deciding that is the problem, that at some point, and I know I'm guilty of it from time to time as well, of treating others as if they are not good enough, that I'm better than them because I know something they don't know, or because they are not behaving rationally. And hey, slave of Christ, could you please stop? Right? That's spam now, right? Stop. We'll come back to you. stop. I'm not going to kick you off unless you keep posting it. Okay, we'll come back to it. Okay. Back to what I was saying. Have I been guilty of pushing somebody away, of saying, you're not my people? I'm sure I have been guilty of that. Who else? Who else has been guilty of this? Neil deGrasse Tyson is brought up often as like the enemy. I always liked him and I liked his approach, and I didn't really see the negativity personally, but that's my personal feelings and my take. What I understand is that a lot of people, Rob has left. Rob doesn't like his approach. And I think I think that's where we should focus our study next. I think to try to improve discourse, to try to improve the future of society, literally, is we need to ask, what is driving people? What is driving people away from this ideal that I have, the ideal I have of rationality and learning more, rationality, curiosity, the idea that through learning more about the world, we can improve technology, we can improve our lives, we can build a better future. I think that's good. I think it's a good idea. We can make fewer mistakes as a people if we understand things better, if we don't fool ourselves as much. So I think that's a really great way to look at the future. And I am scared. I'm scared that a lot of people they're not willing to do that. They're not interested in that. They want to fight me. They just want to fight that idea of building better and planning for the future as a people. They're ready to fight me about that. And I think it's bad. And I'd like it to change. How could it possibly change? Is there a way? Is there a way to change the way we present science and technology so that people don't drive a wedge? And I'd say that the very first step to that is pretty obvious, which is some of our greatest science communicators, NDT, for example. Let me bring that up. I want to talk about that. NDT, for example, is a well-known atheist / agnostic. He actually, I think I've seen him call himself an agnostic. He has said things publicly that suggest belief in God is not a rational belief. I've also seen much more nuanced things that he's said, but that right there, that's a line in the sand between science and religion that many of our great science communicators have done. Carl Sagan, for example, have made that line. And it's that kind of line that I think is exactly what drives people into this us versus them camp. If you're asking me to choose my faith, my religion, my community, or your rational science stuff that I don't know anything about, for a lot of people, that's a very easy choice. And it's not the choice I want them to make. Let's see here. What does Clive say? I watched NDT's video on Terrence Howard a few days ago. I watched it also. I had not seen anything from him before. He's not known in the UK. Oh, interesting. Clive, what did you think of that video? I watched that video and I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was nuanced. I thought it was thoughtful and friendly as it could be. He didn't draw any lines that were inappropriate. I thought. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Germany. It's not an American thing. That's one thing that I have learned. This line is not strictly American. The Germans have a far right political trend. Nazism is back on the rise, even in Germany, which I never thought we'd ever see again. Yeah. Okay. Clive says he was too nice, if anything. Yeah. And this is, unfortunately, this is what gives me pause, because NDT has said some things that are triggering. He's also said some very nuanced, carefully worded things, like the video that you watched. And yet you saw Terrence Howard's reaction to it was not at all open. He felt very slighted by that reaction. And that takes away some of my hope. Like if I ever had any hope that perhaps somebody could, or we as a group could learn to communicate in a more inclusive way and break down these barriers between, I have to choose my people or you people. And because I'm choosing my people, I reject you and everything you stand for. And along with it, the science and technology goes out the window. I'd like that to stop, but maybe the NDT example shows us that it's not possible, because he's not as bad as all that. And yet he's vilified as if he is as bad as all that. So yeah, any other thoughts on that would be super welcome. Most of Europe is going to the right side, but European right is left in the US right. Well, yeah, that's true. There's other countries also, dare I say Israel, that have moved to the right as well in recent decades. And let's don't go there, right? Let's just don't go there. Okay, and thank you for stopping the spam. Slave of Christ wanted us all to see a scholar named Wayne Horowitz defend the thesis that ancients didn't believe in flat earth in peer review. Hey, not my field. Everybody go check that out if you are interested in knowing that knowing what ancient cultures believed about the shape of the earth. Really don't know. I can only repeat what history tells us these days. Okay, Askin, we need to find things to agree on. This year might even get crazier. Yeah. I don't know. I'm starting to get pretty pessimistic about the future. I make no illusions. Science is not going to just suddenly end. We're not going to stop teaching science and engineering. We're not going to stop our unbelievably fast pace of technology. We're building new technology in all kinds of crazy fields, and that is going to continue. It's not going to stop. But what I fear will also not stop is the anti-science and anti-technology movement will continue to grow. And as both sides grow and the antagonism between them continues, we're going to diverge into a more and more real world of us versus them, where there are two sides that get farther and farther apart. And that's a strong worry of mine. Absolutely. It's all about the aliens. So yeah, that is a strong worry of mine. It's my existential crisis. Where do we go from here? Unfortunately, I don't have any answers. I think you all have seen, those of you who are fans of mine have seen that what I've tried to do on the channel is to bring us together, and how it just has not worked. At least not for me. I don't feel like I've had any real significant success with it. You know, Rachie switched sides, right? Rachie has come around. That's not my doing. You know, I don't take credit for that. But other than that, you know, there are people I have learned to get along with, which is growth on my part, I think. But at the same time, there's also people that I have not been able to get along with, and people I used to get along with that no longer speak to me over this. And yeah, that makes me think ultimately I don't think I've accomplished much of anything. So that's where I'm going to wrap it up, along with Rob can neither confirm nor deny. He's not here to deny it. Yeah. And Askin says, I've had success. Don't kid yourself. It takes way more time than it should. Yeah, you know, there's real wisdom in there. Mick West wrote a book about this, and that was kind of one of the things that I took away from that. Mick West is hated by many. Again, there's nothing to hate. He's never been mean to anyone that I've ever seen in my life. I know the guy, by the way. People sometimes, one of my flat Earth friends found that out recently and was upset. I don't want anyone to be upset. I know Mick West. I don't know him well, but yeah, we've met. And one of the things, he is so nice, you guys. He is so nice, and he's very patient, and that's the takeaway. I think we have to be patient with each other. I'm going to sign off here in a bit, and I will tell you, I'm going on a 4-day trip with my family, my extended family, and my sister will be there with her family. And they have some anti-science views, so it's hard for me. And I'm going to see how I do. I'm going to see this as like a personal growth attempt, at least, to have productive conversations and friendly conversations with them, and not see them as my enemies, to avoid the us versus them mentality that we can all get pulled into, including myself. And just accept them as people for who they are. All right. And so thank you all for your contributions and your ongoing contributions. For those out there, like, you know, the MC Tunes and the Fight the Flat Earths, you do cool stuff too, and I enjoy it. It's fun. But I do worry that maybe stuff like, particularly fighting the flat Earth, may be, in fact, the opposite of a good thing. But hey, what do I know, right? Okay. Anything to wrap it up? We got have a good break. Thank you, Rodman. And goodbye, you people. Yeah, thank you, Clive, for being here, and Petey, thanks for being here. People, okay. Yeah, that's absolutely true. By the way, Petey, if there are any flat earthers or science skeptics here, maybe they could chime in and see if we need to update that. But I've spoken to people before, and FLIRF is not something they call themselves. And thus, we wouldn't want to, nobody likes being labeled with something that isn't their label, right? I'll tell you, the first time I was called a cisgender, I was offended. I was like, I don't want a new label, thank you. So, right, none of us likes labels imposed on us by other people. So, yeah, maybe just despite what you think of them, if you don't use derogatory terms at people, they may be more open, maybe, to your side of things. Too true, too true. I don't know what the Earth is, but it's not a globe. It isn't that catchy. Yeah, asking, I don't know where you stand on the whole thing, but I think that's sort of the last I remember was in the I don't know, but it's not that. Or maybe you were just hanging out with people that had that point of view. And ultimately, what I've gotten from that group is they just don't want to label. They don't want to be labeled. How do we speak without the labels? It can be hard, right? It can be hard. How do you describe somebody who is, taking my own example, how do you describe somebody who is cisgender without inventing a new label to call them cisgender? And I wanted to just be called normal, right? Normal or straight, regular. But I understand that calling me normal means somebody else who doesn't fit my category is abnormal. And that's an insult to them. And so I'm like, all right, I mean, if you have to, I can suck it up. I can be a big boy, right? so as a result, I can suck it up. I can be a glober or globulist or globe head. That's fine. I'm a big person. You can call me any of that stuff. Yeah, and so I think you were right when you said we all need to take a step back. Yeah, and let's start with people. Instead of being you people, let's be people. And Judy said it, I think. Let's be people. And I will continue to invite anybody who has these contrarian ideas that wants to talk about it. Hey, I'm here, and I promise not to call you names. Hopefully, we can laugh together instead of laughing at each other. And we can even believe different things. And that's okay, right? Isn't that okay? Is it okay? Isn't it okay if we believe different things? And yeah, okay, last one I'll leave you with. Big question for you all to stay awake at night with tonight. Is it okay to believe something that's not true? Is it okay to believe something that is just not true? Right? I don't know. You guys figure it out and let me know. Let me know what you think. Maybe come back and comment after you've had a chance to think about that. All right, I'm going to cut it off here. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you again sometime in the near future, whenever I feel like it. All right. Have a great summer.